So it was January of 2024, and the long-awaited big event called the Moon Revolution has finally finished after a 1-year wait. And now we gotta figure out the question: what started all of this? So in this video, we're gonna be talking about who exactly started this Moon Revolution thingy, which was meant to be a protest, as what Titan said. Like who started the Moon Revolution, like entirely, like all this stuff, all the injuries and everything? How did all this happen? Well, let's go back a year ago to figure out what had happened. And it all began right here in this episode of 1 year ago called Why Does Saturn Have Rings? It was a normal episode and all. So, Neptune was going to Uranus and wanted to ask him a question. And then Uranus, okay? And then Neptune said this.
So I wanted to know, why does Saturn have rings?
Now, what does this have to do with the Moon Revolution entirely? Well, it's kind of a last resort. Because if you guys have seen in the moons of Saturn, they were talking about how beautiful rings were made from the corpses of old moons. And that made all the moons of Saturn shocked. And that got Titan, one of the moons of Saturn, interested in the Earth. That was when this whole thing was coming to a beginning. As soon as Neptune asked the question, Asteroid came in and explained what would happen, or how did it happen. And then he made Saturn cry and told him that was a fairy, but Saturn took it too far and then, went to his moons. And going a few episodes later, the moon met Titan. That was pretty normal. They had a normal conversation, asking Titan if he was actually a moon, since it was actually bigger than Mercury. And here we go to the episode, The Truth About Titan, where this whole thing started. Why? Well, at first, it was meant to be a normal conversation. Earth asked him if he was a real planet, even though he was a moon, because I can't remember, that he's probably bigger than Mercury. And then they got Earth and Mars curious about him until, Mars said he's Middle Earth. And then told him the similarities to you. And back then, that was not the Earth we had then. He was rude and didn't like anyone who had life exactly like him. He wanted to be the only one. And he thought he was special because he was the only one that had life. That got Earth mad. And then Mars said that he has an ocean under his surface. And Titan, I think, felt uncomfortable. And Earth got way mad and think that he's just a moon. And then he said something that changed the solar system forever.
Come on, don't be rude. No! Moons should know their place.
The Earth said moons should know their place. And that got Titan disappointed. And then left. After this whole conversation thingy, Earth and Mars and the moon, I think, were playing cards until Mars and the moon were not looking at Earth and were not talking to him because of how he treated Titan and all the moons for that matter. So and then Mars and the moon got mad at him and they didn't think that he's better than the moons because he's, the only one we know has life. And then when he said that, Mars and the moon got furious at him because he thinks that he's special because of just that he's having life. Especially since Mars says that having life doesn't make you special. Finally, we go to Mission to Titan Part 2, and Titan tells him what he found under his surface since Asteroid was visiting Titan's surface. And he said,
I think I found some type of small organism. I have life? Moons can have life? Maybe it's time for a change.
And Titan decided it was time for a change. And also I was going to point out that after this episode, apart from Venus vs. Mars, Asteroid completely disappeared. But that's for another video. So now, after we've gone through all this, I don't know if you guys have decided, but if you have, who was the one who started the Moon Revolution entirely? Well, if I had to pick one, it would be, I actually don't know. So, in fact, for now, we'll take the answer as the leaders or the ones who started the Moon Revolution was Neptune, asteroid, Saturn, and the Earth. Neptune came and asked the question why Saturn has rings, and the asteroid came and explaining what happened, and then Saturn got depressed and then went to his moons, telling about this entire situation, which led Titan in interest of the Earth. And then because of that, the Earth didn't like that Titan had life or something else had life, and the witch said moons should know their place. So yes, it was four objects that started the moon revolution. Which brings us right here, which now the moon revolution is over. So yes, it's been a long ride, it's been a year since this whole moon revolution thing started, and we're glad it's over. So yeah, we can just be happy now. If you guys think you agree with this, please subscribe, and goodbye.